Well, hello and happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining me again today. I'm going to be making some stuffed chicken breasts today, so I thought I'd do some cooking and have a little chatting with you about how things are going and how you're doing with pre-retirement. How's your job? Are you hating every minute of it, or are you loving it and wondering how you're going to let it go? Or are you somewhere in the middle? Are you looking forward to having that freedom that we've all worked for so long, or are you afraid of actually having that level of freedom? Or again, are you somewhere right in the middle? Wherever you are is normal. Whatever we're feeling at these times, whether it's, joy and excitement or fear and trepidation, that's completely normal, I feel like. And what I want to do is kind of work through those feelings kind of with you for myself and also with you for you. But first I wanted to show you, because I got a package today and I kind of want to show you what I got. I started out by planting some seeds last year, and they did absolutely nothing. I probably planted them too late in the year. They were some wildflowers. They were a Midwest blend of wildflowers. And again, I thought, you know what, those flowers didn't germinate and I'll never buy those types of flowers again. But this year, at the beginning of the year, I had a patch of those wildflowers come back up. So they're perennials and they are absolutely beautiful. And there's some Shasta daisies in there. There's some cosmos. There's some black-eyed Susans. There's some coreopsis. There's just a wide variety. And I'll take a picture and put it into this video so that everybody can kind of see this really beautiful, impromptu, unexpected wildflower patch that came up in my garden this year. And I was so overjoyed by that because, again, I thought, well, that was a waste of money and those seeds didn't germinate. And so I went to the website for that company that sells those seeds, and I got some more flowers, and I wanted to kind of go over these seeds with you real quick. But first of all, I wanted to sort of point out how we sometimes spend so much time taking care of everybody else and really not giving ourselves that same love and attention, and especially as we're getting older. And I'm speaking to, of course, the older ladies out there in the audience with me, that many times we're the caretakers of everybody else and we don't always get that reciprocated. And so I decided with these seeds, I was going to be very intentional about the fact that I am buying these seeds for me, because I love flowers, I love planting, I love working in my garden, I love the beauty of nature. And so there was an option to put a little gift card in there in the box when I ordered it. And so I wrote a note to myself, and the note says, "You are amazing and you deserve all good things, including enjoying the beauty of these beautiful flowers." So I wrote this little note to myself. So I guess I just want to remind all of you that you're all amazing and you deserve all the good things, including enjoying the beauty of the world and everything around you. So take care of yourself and remember yourself while you're in the midst of caring for everybody else. So anyways, I got 2 of these bags. These are coming from Decker Road Seeds, and I believe they're in Oregon. And I got 2 bags, 2 4-ounce bags of Midwest wildflower mix, which is what I planted last year. And I actually got enough to cover 2,000 square feet because I have a really large bed that I have these in mind for next year. So these will be my seeds that I will plant at the end of the year this year, and I will let them all come up like this little impromptu bed did at the beginning of next year. So I see what worked with that mixture, and I'm gonna copycat that this year. So got 2 bags of seeds for the Midwest mixture. And then I bought these little tins that I thought were so cute. They are just so sweet. And this one is a fragrant wildflower. And it's in a little metal tin with a really cool little scene on the front. And it has multiple different flowers inside, and they're all fragrant. And so I plan to plant these close to my outside deck where I sit out on my lunch break, and sometimes I even do therapy outside if it's a nice cool day. I will sit out and do some of my telehealth therapy sessions outside, and my patients love it because I show them kind of around where we're sitting. So I'll be planting the fragrant collection around where I sit outside. And then I got another really cool metal container with a really cool scene on it. And these are wildflowers that are specific to the Northeast. So I'm actually thinking about giving these to my sister who lives in New Hampshire and loves flowers as much as I do. So I may give this to her as a gift. But I just wanted to just remind you all that you all deserve all the good things, and we all deserve to have little notes sent to us, even if it's us sending those notes to ourselves. It's not selfish. It's important for us to prioritize ourselves and our self-care. So wanted to share that with you first and foremost. Now we're going to get into the chicken, and I want to talk about a couple other things that are retirement related. So let me set this over on the bar and get this out of the way. We'll wash my hands and get going on this chicken. Like I said, I'm going to make a stuffed chicken. And I stuffed this chicken with a mixture of cream cheese, Parmesan cheese, and some spices. Of course, you know I love my spices, right? So I'm not going to be mixing up anything for dinner that is not spiced up nice. So I'll make my mixture first. Now, what I have is I just have enough for dinner for 2 and maybe some leftovers tomorrow. So this will be more than enough cream cheese for this purpose. I'm using Nancy's organic probiotic cream cheese. I don't know if you've ever gotten this before. I got this from Azure Standard. I do a Azure order probably a couple times a year. We don't have a drop-off location that's very close to where we live, so a lot of times we have to have things shipped, and that's not always the best way with Azure. You can't get a lot of things from them, but I did get this cream cheese, so I'm going to use this Nancy's organic probiotic cream cheese in this recipe for stuffing these chicken breasts. And I think I'm just going to start out by using like half of the container, because you can't really fit a lot of cheese in that in the pocket that you can make in a chicken breast. So I'm just going to start out with half, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, my husband really loves this, and I think I'm also going to grab some spinach. I'll be right back, because if I can sneak some spinach in my husband's dinner, and get him to eat the healthy stuff, it's all good. It's not always easy to get him to eat his vegetables. All right, sorry about that. Got my measuring spoons and my spinach. It's been a long day. I had a lot of patients today again, and one of the topics I actually wanted to talk with you about, and I can expand on this more as we go along in this channel, because it really does affect our age group. There are so many families that are addressing substance use disorder in their families. And even my family has experienced substance use disorder and drug addiction and alcoholism. And one of these days I will share share in more detail our journey. But I am working with a lot of families who are trying desperately to help their loved ones to beat addiction. Many families who are raising their grandchildren because of addiction in the parents. And for many of them, there is detrimental financial results because of, the lengths that a lot of family members are going to try to help their family. Now, I'm not in any way suggesting not to help your family. I totally get that. I have children. I have experienced addiction in my own family, and I've been a substance use disorder therapist for over 30 years. So I'm very well aware of the family dynamic. But I really want to caution anyone watching this about giving your whole retirement, putting your whole retirement and future at risk, trying to fix this problem. Because unfortunately, no matter how much money we throw at this problem, we can see this even with the different political campaigns and funding and everything else. No matter how much money we throw at this, we cannot fix another human being until that human being is ready to be fixed. And so we have to be very, very careful with our spending and set some good, clear boundaries about how much we are willing to do, how much we can do, how much we can control. Because I'm seeing people that are being just devastated financially trying to fix it. There's lots of resources, and I'll put resources in this in the comments for families, for guidance. Obviously this is a topic that could take a long time to dissect and dive into, and there is no real right or wrong. There's no roadmap. It's like being a parent. There's no roadmap for that, right? We all did the best that we could. We learned as we went, and sometimes we made mistakes. Sometimes we may have continued patterns that were taught to us and we didn't know any better. Like they've said many times, like parenting doesn't come with a roadmap, it doesn't come with a manual, and we try to do the best that we can, and that's all we can do. So, I just want to affirm and give respect to anybody who is dealing with this right now and not knowing what to do, because it's a really difficult problem to deal with. So, want to just, really encourage families to set limits on how much you're contributing to, the assistance and help financially. Obviously, we don't want to stop loving someone who has an addiction. We don't want to disown them. They may be acting in ways that are completely outside of their normal. They may be acting in ways that are very hurtful. What we have to remember is that this is not the true person that's acting this way. Addiction literally hijacks the brain, and it causes people to act in ways that are not normal. So we have to keep that in mind and remember, what we're dealing with. So, if you have that situation, at the same time, again, we want to set boundaries about what we can and can't have around us and what we can and can't tolerate in our lives, and everybody's very different in that way. And so kind of setting those rules and then being consistent about, carrying them out, following through with them will be important. And the most that we can do is really just encourage somebody to get the help. There's a lot of resources and a lot of help out there right now. There's programs available that historically never were, like medically assisted treatment programs for opioid addiction as well as alcohol addiction, and even some new programming for stimulant addiction. Obviously, marijuana can be an issue for some people. Some people, can use marijuana and never have a problem. Other people do develop an addiction to that as well. So, just letting people know who are struggling, these are the resources that are available. I can help you to make calls. I can help you to access those programs. But I just want to caution you about spending significant amounts of money when we are so close to our retirement, because we're not going to have the opportunities that we did when we were younger to be able to make that money back up. We're coming to the end of our income producing, not the beginning. So we want to be really careful about, our spending so that we can assure that we have what we need, as we get older. So just keeping that in mind. And, I'm just reminded of this because I just worked with a family today that is struggling with it. And so I thought, I want to touch on this because it really does affect us. And there's lots of data out there that kind of talks about, some of the things that set us up for failure in retirement. And one of them is, still feeling some financial obligations to our adult children, and things like that. So that can really wipe us out. And I want all of you to have a successful retirement and to be financially secure in your retirement. So that's why I wanted to bring that topic up, and I'm happy to talk more about it. If you want to mention it in the comments, whatever you want to say in the comments, like, you don't have to hold back. If you have questions, if you disagree with something that I say, by all means, feel free to bring that up. I won't get offended, especially when it comes to addiction and substance use disorder. There's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of misinformation, and I'd love to be able to use this format to clear some of that up if need be. So, feel free to, comment and ask questions or give me ideas of things that you'd like me to talk more on. Happy to do that. So I'm just chopping up, I have a herb garden in the back. I'm chopping up some parsley and some fresh oregano and a little bit of basil from my garden. I may give you all a garden tour here, and kind of show you what I got going on. I'm really excited actually this year because I've got a lot of stuff going on in my garden that I haven't been able to do because up until last year this time, I was working in leadership. I was traveling a lot. I was responsible for a lot of the services that were being provided by my organization, and I just didn't have time. You know, if I wasn't home to take care of my flower beds, you know, my husband may not remember. This is my thing, not his so much. And so, you know, I just couldn't really, you know, feel like, you know, I'd be able to maintain the flower beds and the herb gardens and even my hanging baskets. Like my baskets probably would not have made it because you know how fast they dry out. And if they don't get watered, they die. And so the last several years, probably 4 or 5 years that I was working in this corporate position, I just didn't do anything with my flower beds and stuff. And so this year I'm super excited because I've really been able to have good outcomes with everything. So I'm excited to kind of show you what I've got going on as far as that's concerned. I'm not an expert. That's not my expertise. It's just a love that I have, and hopefully it's a passion that maybe some of you guys have too, and we could share our passion with each other as far as plants are concerned. So I have my filling done, and what I did is I took some of that cream cheese, I took some Parmesan cheese, I took some salt and pepper, a little salt, just a little salt because of that Parmesan, garlic powder, onion powder, oregano. I put some spinach in there, just a handful. I didn't really measure things. And then I put some oregano and I put some fresh parsley that I minced up. And I put it all into the bowl together, mixed it all really well. And I'm gonna stuff these chicken breasts. But first thing I'm gonna do with these chicken breasts is I just know, like most of the chicken breasts we get, they are really thick. And I do not like thick chicken breasts. I just feel like you have to cook them for so long to get them done, and then they dry out in the middle. So I'm going to butterfly these, and then I'm going to salt and pepper them, and I'm going to stuff them with this cream cheese stuffing and stick them in the oven, like a 385 oven for maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Once you cook them down and thin them out, they cook a lot faster. And I'm going to throw this in tonight with some sweet potatoes. We love sweet potatoes, and we just put them right in the oven, almost like baked potatoes. And we put some olive oil and some salt and pepper on them, and just stick them in there like a baked potato. We eat the peel and all on our sweet potatoes, which is, from what I hear, the most nutritious way to eat them. But for us, it's just the most delicious way. You know, I know a lot of people like to add sugar to their sweet potatoes, like marshmallows and different things like that. Maple syrup, honey. We don't sweeten our sweet potatoes up at all. We like them just the way that they are, and we feel like they're sweet enough without adding any sweetener to it. And then I wanted to mention that we do love sweet potatoes so much that I am trying to grow sweet potatoes in my garden this year, which is a big step for me. Again, I haven't had a garden for a long time because I haven't been able to be home enough to, really manage it. So I just put like 2 or 3 slips of sweet potatoes in a big container, and they are growing so well. The slips are, at least. I don't know about the sweet potatoes under the ground, but I'm going to assume that they're growing really well, not under the ground, but in that container. I'm going to assume they're growing really well because the slips are growing super good. So, yeah, I think I might be successful with growing some sweet potatoes this year, which will be so fantastic because I love sweet potatoes and we spend a lot of money on them. So hopefully we'll get maybe 10, 15 sweet potatoes from our container this year. We'll see. You never know unless you try, right? That's the whole key to it. Trying new things, being willing to say, even if this doesn't work out, I'm gonna try. You know, it's kind of like this YouTube channel. You know, when I first started thinking about getting a YouTube channel, I was really apprehensive, like I think most people are. And, you know, can I really do this? You know, is this something that I can do? Of course, there's so much, you know, advice and everything out there in the YouTube world. And you have, you know, sometimes find yourself, you know, comparing yourself to other people. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm doing this because I love these topics and I love helping other people. And I'm hoping that this channel will be a source of support for people and inspiration for people and ideas. I want to touch on lots of different topics that I hope will be helpful to everyone. And at the end of the day, worst case scenario, I you know, cook some meals together and make some friends along the way and have fun. You know, this is fun. Like, I'm really enjoying it. This is only my third video actually, but I'm really enjoying the process. I'm learning so much about editing and filming because I've never done anything like this before, which I think is another good thing, is that we are learning that we can do new things. We can learn new things. We're never too old to grow. At 62 years old, I'm learning new things, you know. And so, you know, we can all continue to learn and keep our brains engaged and keep ourselves busy and keep making friends and, you know, keep learning new things. I think that is a really good way of helping our brain cognitively to stay engaged and maybe, just maybe, help us to avoid, you know, dementia or Alzheimer's. You know, keeping that brain going and keeping it engaged and busy. My mom just passed in April from dementia, and it was the saddest thing to see her go through that, because she was such a independent woman. She was such a you know, involved in her community and so vibrant. But what happened for her later in life is she kind of stopped being involved and started to kind of seclude herself from others. And I'm not sure, I'm not a doctor, I don't know very much about the topic, but I don't know if maybe that might not have contributed, you know, if not to her getting dementia, but to it advancing as quickly as it did. And so I want to try to do everything I can to stay engaged and involved and busy so that, you know, maybe that won't happen to me. So I'm going to stick these chicken breasts in the oven. I have them all folded up and packed that that cream cheese mixture into the middle of the chicken breast. And I'm going to stick this in a 380 oven for probably about maybe 40 minutes. And then we'll come back and see how they turned out and have some final last words for today and go on with our evening. My girl Zoe is over here. I don't know if you can see her. There she is. She stays right there on the threshold of the kitchen and the living room because she knows she's not allowed in the kitchen when I'm cooking. Sometimes she'll still sneak in, but she's a pretty good girl about staying right there where she's supposed to be. And she knows that after we have our dinner, we'll take our ride and we'll go and look out for a Lake Erie sunset. And we'll catch up on our day. Maybe we might even stop for a little scoop somewhere. Get ourselves a little scoop of ice cream tonight. We're on a intermittent fasting journey. My husband and I will have to talk to you guys about that someday and see if you guys are doing anything like that. So we'll catch up. We'll catch up here in about 40 minutes or so. See you in a bit. Bye. All right, we are back and we have finished up our dinner for this evening. I first of all wanted to introduce you to my husband, Dom. Dominic, the infamous Dom that I talk about all the time, but you haven't really seen him on camera. So he's going to be enjoying this evening with me and some dinner.
One of my favorites.
One of your favorites. So we made the stuffed chicken breasts with the cream cheese and those fresh herbs and all those wonderful spices we love. And we also made some sweet potatoes, just cut those and put those in the oven with some salt and pepper and oil on them. And then, believe it or not, this little bit of spinach here, which we're gonna finish up tonight, was almost a whole bag. But you know, once you saute it, it shrinks down in size. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I wanted to finish up this video with this card that I talked to you about that I actually had sent to myself. And I want to say these words to you in closing tonight. Remember, you are amazing and you deserve all good things, including enjoying the beauty of this world and all that it has to offer around you. Have a great night, and thanks for joining me tonight while we cooked and chatted about some really important topics and about some really fun things that are going on in life. So have a great night. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Good night.